Let's check it out.
If you write,
That's muted. Mute tab. Yep. Right. Oh, we're alive. Hi, guys. So, what are we gonna do today? Okay. This is where we left off last time, I think. Am I correct? Let's see how we can. How do we draw in this? Is it lagging or is it not lagging? 8. So. Okay. That's much. Yeah, not as bad as it could have been. So, I think it is okay. Oh, it should be. Yeah. So, I'm gonna go make coffee, and this is where we left off last time. Let's check out if the chat is showing up. Hello, hello. Yep, the chat's working. Awesome. And it's even, you can even read it. Yep, you can even read it. Just like this. Perfect. So my black coffee is almost ready, and I'm gonna go into it. So let's do this. So what are we gonna do? This is where we left off last time. This was after I was asked by a viewer how to enlarge the canvas, so I shrunk the whole piece and started drawing a little bit over it, but I didn't have enough time, so this is where we stopped. And after that, the next day when I woke up, I didn't have a lot of time, so I couldn't stream, but oh, I should look here, really. Yeah, so I couldn't stream, but I started doing a little bit of stuff. So I took the black and whites that are here, yet still not in a good position, and I did this. So I refined the background, I filled it in, and made some adjustments. So, like, cleaned it up a little. After that, so just a second, I will turn everything off. So after that, what was still on there? What was still? Oh, here we go. Okay, after that, when this was in a Oh, hello. Hi. Hi. I still don't know how to pronounce your nickname, so it's Anko? 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 Inko? Let's call it Inko. Yeah, just working. Like, just stopped working. Had my that's lunch, and yeah. So here we are. We'll be trying to break this down. If you remember, this is where we left off last time. This like completely rough and not in any way or shape good. How was your weekend? Was it good? Because my weekend was a tough one. Had a lot of things to do, although sitting at home. So yeah, after like in the morning of the next day, I made a little bit of work on the black and white part. So I added a couple of like, refinements to the initial piece. That's nice. Always nice when the weekend is chill because the weekdays, the work days are usually tough. So after we did the refinements of the shapes and well, not refinements, just like cleared up the piece so it doesn't look so janky and like has this like rectangle in the middle. After that, I decided, well, okay, it looks pretty good on the black and white, and I don't want it to be a black and white piece. So I added some color, and the color I added by making another layer. So I used like just created a normal layer, and I put it in overlay, and like I'm gonna bring in here. Here's the layer panel, right? So it's a layer which is like this. This is the colors. I chose to go with earthy, like brownish colors that are somewhere in this spectrum because we don't want them to go very sharp because the sharper because overlay, as you see, it goes like, let's try and put uh, here we go. Let's have another overlay layer and put it uh, like in the very bright colors. So we will get like, man, are you working? Just, oh, here we go. So it will like create like the blacks will try and go away, the whites will come out. So I try and make it as subtle as possible. Make him pink? Okay, let's make him pink. So let's go in pink. As you see, it's like it's very harsh if you use overlay, and even if you will use like soft light, which is like something similar to overlay, but has like less of an effect on light on the lightest parts and the darkest parts, it's still it eats up a lot of color. You can go with multiply, that's okay, but then you have to like stick with a higher range of white because it will then not adjust, like it will make everything darker, you see, the multiply. So I usually tend to stay with overlay because it like keeps the whites and blacks in balance, which I created at first. Not in balance, it just adjusts them a little bit more, not like makes it darker like what multiply does. Although it's also a possibility to do it with this, just you will have to like adjust hmm, the flow of the brushes. Like if we look here, I didn't color everything in with the same like amount of color. I've made a lot of things more opaque. Like you can see the eyes here, still in the teeth, right? So when you do that, the color is a little bit less there. Because after this, this is just the initial part. We just put the colors in. So if we like it, we stick with it. If we don't, we change it up. Doesn't matter much. Just try and stick with like this range of colors. Don't try not to go too high on the saturation and not too dark because it switches things up. So after that, we do the same things we've been doing before. We just work it up. We take the colors that are in there and we work them up a little bit. And in the middle of that process, I thought, well, I don't like how the shadows are black and there's just a little bit of blue in there. So what I did, I took the circle, here's like right here. Do you see it? And I pressed on it, and here are the adjustment layers. So it's the same as the adjustments in the top, where you go image adjustments, and you have this adjustment panel, but it's an adjustment layer, so it can be like, it's more flexible. You can turn it on, turn it off, and like you can like switch it places if you have multiple layers. So what I did, I took a color balance layer, which adjusts the midtones. You can see it here. So you can change the shadows, the midtones, and the highlights. So I decided that I will go, yeah, it's a very useful thing. You can like tweak it because you can actually like make drastic adjustments. For example, in this one, if you go with 100%, it's pretty crazy what I did. It's like, you know, like this was before and this is after, right? It's pretty drastic changes that we made. But you can make it like 40% anytime. Like I was 40. And like you can make it 0, look what you like. And also you can make the, let's say, overlay. It will adjust that. But let's stick with what I did. So I put like 40%. And what I did, I had an idea when I was throwing the earthy tones. So we were setting up like the main character is more of a like, you know, leathery color. And the lighting that comes from the top on his head like this is like something of a yellowish type of color, and the second light that comes in this part of him, like here, it's blue. Well, something bluish, cyan. So we made the adjustments. So we made the highlights more of a yellow into the red, then the midtones, like just a small tweak to make it more interesting, and the shadows I went into the blue and red, as I was thinking that the parts that are not in color, well, not in the light, in the main light source, they will be more like, you know, the neon lights. They change the shadows into the color that the light is, not as with like sun. The sun, the color that the sun is, it changes the shadow into the opposite light. So not the opposite, but something like that. So let's say the sun is usually like very bright yellow, like this. So the sun is usually like this bright. And the shadows are usually something like this, right? Well, not this bright color, but they are more blue than anything else. So, but the neon lights, they change it, they do it differently. Like when you're in the light, in the very bright, for example, green light, your shadow will be also green. I really don't know. I think it's because it colors the air around you too, and yeah, yeah. I mean, you mean like this? Yeah. I also thought of putting something in there, but we went with the dark background, so I just stuck with it. So yeah, I did those adjustments. Then I decided to make like the color a little bit more solid because there is still a lot of like initial black and whiteness coming through. So the problem is if I take this step forward, it will look like I just like splattered some color over the initial black and white. So it won't feel so like, you know, like it's real skin. Well, I don't know. That's how I think about it. So I added the vibrance. It makes the vibrance filter. It works with saturation and color. So it makes the colors more. So the saturation is pumped up and the vibrance is pumped up. So if you have like a, let's say, This is your initial color, the green here, right? I'll draw on another layer again. So let's say this was your initial green, right? And we take I will show exactly what it does so that we can check it out. Here's the vibrance filter, right? And we will copy this on top so we can see what changes. And we make the adjustment. So you see, the color changes. We can make it gray. So it's like this. The upper part is more of a brightness. No, it's more of a contrasty, and the lower one is more of a, the hue. So the saturation part adds more color. So let's say this is completely without color, and as more you go, it adds more color itself to the initial color. And the vibrance, what it does, it's like from less white to more white. What I think it does, because if we look at the gray, that's what it does. So here it's more dark, and this is more white. So yeah, I did that one. That filter, and after that, this one is 40, yes. And then I added a little bit of like selective color. Selective color is it's like you can choose colors that are in your image and change them what color they are. Well, for example, if we make another selective color adjustment and we make, let's say, a blue dot, cyan dot, right? Here's a cyan dot, right? So we choose the selective color and we go into cyan. Let's say I don't like the cyan, like my image has a lot of cyan in it, right? And I want the cyan, like somewhere in the between, in the middle of the image, I decided, oh my God, I don't like that cyan. Like, for example, someone said to me, like, cyan is like for example, if it's a client piece and a client says, well, you know, I talked to my friends and the friends said that cyan is like, I don't know, something like very bad in our culture. So then we have to change the cyan color. So you can go either repaint it or go into hue saturation, but hue saturation doesn't work that good when you have like not just color, when it has like some variation to it, like here in the image, some colors there are cyan, but they have like a little bit of red and a little bit of purple into them, like so magenta and something like that. So then you can choose to go into selective colors and change the initial color. Like you see, I tweak this and I get like purple. Then I can tweak it and we'll have green. So you can use that. Also, you can adjust the amount of white or black, and you can go relative. That will, if you have an image that has a lot of things in it, then it's better to go to relative because it will work with the whole image, not with just the color. So it will work with tonalities of the color as well. But I usually use the selective color for more like, I don't adjust colors, like not a lot when I do sketches or pieces like this. I use it for whites, grays, and blacks because when you work from black and white, you usually have like, for example, here the background is still like too black. Let's say if we take if we take this color, it's like if you look here, it's like it's black. It's 3% from on the value scale. Is that value scale? I think it's value. So yeah, it's like very, very, very black. And very black should be like, well, I try to avoid using straight white and straight black in like a lot of places because those are the largest contrast colors that you can have because that's how it works. The white is the one that pops, the one that you look at, and the black one is the one that covers everything up, and your eyes try to like look what's not that black. So for shadows, it's more interesting and more, you can reveal a lot more if you don't use a lot of black. And as I'm not that good at painting without doing that, I used some cheats. So the cheat is using selective color on the blacks, and I will show how that works. So let's say we have this image, it's very dark. We use the selective color, we choose the color black, and we go like this. So for example, we want, let's say our backdrop will be purple. Oh no, wait, you told me to make him pink. Yeah, something like that. I make it a hue of a color. So let's say you wanted him pink, right? So the opposite color that would benefit the pink color of the character would be green. So we will go to green. So let's say here is a greenish tint, something like this, right? And we tweak it a little bit so it's not that drastic. So it's not like, it feels like too crazy. Although you can go that way too. So he's gonna be pink. Let's go. Here you go, he's pink. So what we did, we made color balance changes. We did a little bit of vibrance changes to that pink color. And now we're going with changing the midtones, the blacks, and the neutrals. So let's say if we go here, this is a Coolerus color circle, but you can do it without the circle. Actually, I'm starting to not like the circle as my PC is not that fast to work with it. It's pretty heavy on the, I think it's JavaScript or something like that. It's pretty heavy on the workload. So for example, I can switch the whole thing with my mouse, but I can't do it with my tablet. It just doesn't do anything. It's not, as I'm a left-handed person, you see, for me, like going while I paint, changing the colors with the mouse is not very like, I don't like doing it. I like this new, what they have, this new thingy in the latest Photoshop, they have this color square. That thing is awesome. That thing is amazing. Yeah, it's a heavy plugin, the Coolers. I actually like, I'm starting. No, I don't want to say that the money is not well spent because it's not a lot of money and it's an awesome filter, not filter, awesome plugin. It helps with a lot of stuff, but it really is like, for me, at least for me, it's not the best deal that you can have. Well, I can have. But it helps with the things that you don't have to like remember all of the things. So for example, our dude is pink. And we can go with the light. The best way to use light here would be to complement it. Complement the initial color or fully contrast it. But as we are setting up the backlight to be the opposite to complement the initial, we will go with the complementary colors. And the complementary colors are like, it's gonna be like, not this. It's either going to be this, but this is too plain for me. This can go. We can go with, it's called Accented Analogic Scheme. You can check out those on the internet. Adobe has actually the color wheel on the web. I don't remember how it's called. I will drop a link into the, just a second. I will, Adobe color wheel. So you just search Adobe color wheel in the description. So it's like this, color.adobe.com. So you go there and you just like, you can save the palette, you can see all the complementary schemes that work. It's awesome and it's web-based, so it doesn't use a lot of resources if you don't use Chrome, because Chrome eats RAM like this. So yeah, let's go with, let's go a little bit more drastic. Let's try and that the color of the light will be something reddish, right? So we'll go and try, and so red. This is a RGB slider. What it would be if we go SMIC, it would be like more magenta and more yellow. So we would go like this and like this, right? I would try and change that up so it would fit into what we want. But as our image is a little bit too it has one color in it, so it's harder to do that. But if we would have more different colors, as in wait, what is here? Why is it so? Oh, I just look at it that way. As we have here, for example, I initially thought about different colors, right? So I added like, it's not one tone, it's different tones. So that way we initially have some variance in the color. You should have variance. You should not go with like here I did on this overlay layer that was just for to show you what the overlay layer does. This one will just destroy the image. Like, it will be hard without just painting to change colors in it, because it just makes everything pink. Yeah, so should work on it. So yeah, here we go. And this is what we ended up with. I added a little bit to the black, so it's not that black anymore. If we go, where is the colorist? Here's the colorist. And if we check, let's go with one color. And this is like a little bit less, let's say it's a little bit less dark. Just a little bit. I didn't want to go crazy at first. So, and then we work it up. So we take colors from here. So we go in a little bit closer, right? And we start to take colors from here and we blend them in together, right? So we see that, for example, this color is a lot lighter, and we go whoop, 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 whoop. Then we take the opacity of our brush or flow, like, doesn't matter really, just a little bit down so that the colors blend in, and we just like, we add a little bit of the darker color. It's a little bit laggy, but yeah. So we add a little bit of the darker color, then we take the lighter color, paint it over, and do that all the time. I think that we will do the full body tomorrow, because today I just wanna just mess around with another monster. I got tired of this dude a little bit, because I was like, it took me 2 days. It was like Saturday and Sunday I was working on him. So yeah, it's like I'm a little bit tired of him, but I will surely paint the whole body. So yeah, we take the colors that are here and we work them in together so they blend it into each other. So we take a lighter one and a darker one, and then we layer them each on top of each other so they make like a consistent flow of color. So then that was the first day. This is where I left off on Saturday morning. After that, I started working, and the weekend, my son woke up, and we had to go to for his like to a teacher. He's 3 years old, but we're like learning to talk, and all of those things happened. And I didn't come back to this. I just worked in the morning and a little bit in the day, and that's it. So the next morning I woke up a little bit later, but still I managed to do. Was it next day or was it the same day? Just let me, because my head is very bad with remembering stuff. So this was, yeah, it was, I took some time on it yesterday. So what happened here? Yeah, so what I did first was still continuing to blend in colors, each on each other. So I just take a little bit of that, take a little bit of that, take a color that is lighter. For example, here in this place, you can see that before we were a little bit darker, right? Right here, you can see it. Oh, I will actually make a layer for this, for the whole commentary, and use a bright color that will look good. And let's use a brush that doesn't require so much. So, yeah, in this place, come on, come on. Sometimes it's laggy on me. Because, yeah, because laggy. Trying to understand what's eating up my resources, but no matter. Probably the huge color bar. Why don't you? Oh, because it's, yeah, sorry. It wasn't that brush that I wanted to. Here we go. This place is a little bit dark in the initial piece, right? So to make it a little bit brighter, I took the colors from this place, a little bit of those colors, just put them in there and blend them in like that. So if we try and show it here, let's say with this brush. So we take the bright color, we put it here, right? Then we take the darker color, we put it on top of it. And we go back and forth like this. Let's zoom in on that. And eventually some of the part will lighten up because you use the lighter color. Just don't go overboard. Try and stick with what you made before. If the black and white was good, then all of this will be like more or less good. You just have to make adjustments. So what I did after that, let's go smaller. So what I did after that was a little bit more blending on this. That's an empty layer. Yeah. And I did another set of color balance, brightness, and selective color adjustments, just so to make it a little bit more like dramatic. Because I wasn't liking how thin the colors feel. It just felt to me like an opaque layer of colors. So I added some adjustments, made it more like gritty. After that, I made a couple of layers that are that represent the light itself. So what I do usually, I picked that one up. I don't remember. Was it Shadi Safari or someone like that did it on stream of one of his interviews or streams or on Level Up, I think it was. So, oh no, wait, that was James Zapata. No, that doesn't matter. The thing is, so you make a color dodge layer. You make a new layer. You fill it with black, completely black, just black. You use the color dodge setting, right? And you take a soft brush, like for example, this one is, where are the brushes? Oh, thank you very much for following Alteron Art. So you take the brush settings and you see it's like it's on transfer with pen pressure. So it will make it, if we go into the normal mode, with transfer, come on, what's going on? Yeah, I'm lagging. Sorry, it's been a long day for the. It will not lag when I start a new piece, so it will be better. So here we go. You see, if transfer is on, the less you press, the less it adds it. So if I press hard, the more color comes out. So it's like, it's going to be very opaque. And I use pen pressure on that, and I will turn off the jitter, flow jitter. That doesn't help. So what I do is I go with that on color dodge, and the places that have I first work on the initial light. So the initial light is on his face and a little bit on his shoulder. So it's like this. It's like a spotlight, maybe not a spotlight. Maybe he's just like, here's something big, right? Like here, somewhere in front of him, there's something big. So the light's coming, but the big thing is blocking the light, something like that. So what I do, I take the white and I just go in the places that have the light in it. So let's say like this, right? I don't know what's happening. Yeah, like this, right? So we add that here a little bit. The problem is this is a little bit, this works amazing on metal because the metal is pretty shiny, so it will do great jobs there. But on skin and other types of material, it's too harsh. The skin doesn't work like that. It works like that when it's wet or when the light is like dramatic, like it's like really a spotlight, just like a huge football field type of light. But I use the Control U. I press Control U, so wait, yeah, that's correct. So I use Control U and I press Colorize. When I colorize it, that's what's not white is turning into that color. So if we go into the non-color dodge view, you will see what I'm talking about. You see, everything becomes like more red. And I adjust. I go lighter, darker, and I will show you how it looks when I adjust it on with the color dodge on. This is what I do. First, I decide on the color because the colors sometimes they behave differently. So, for example, if I want a yellow, sometimes I have to go into the green because the green interacts with the colors in such a way that it looks more yellow than the yellow one or the orange one. This time I went, so we were going with something magenta. Let's go. We were going something along this line initially. Well, with our today's idea. So then I go on the lightness because if I go lighter, the black parts will go up to into the whites, and everything that will be lighter than black will show up on the color dodge layer. So the black parts just don't show up and don't interact with the layer at all. So here we go. I go, let's say like this, for example, and down. So it looks, when you do it, it looks like it doesn't exist, like nothing has changed. But then if you look at the changes, they happen and they're pretty they're noticeable if you turn them off and turn them on again. So in this situation, this is what I got, this is what I had. So it's not huge, but I didn't want huge. I didn't want to make a dramatic change because if I did a dramatic change, it would look just wonky. Like one of the pieces I did on these sketches was Dragon. It's on my Instagram page. It's like it's a bad one because I made these changes like I made them so crazy that the initial piece didn't look good. Like the not the initial, but the end product was bad. I will just give me a second. Not here. Let's go into my PC. I will open it up. Just so I can show what I mean. Oh, here we go. Here's the piece. I will open it up. This piece, right? I went a little bit overboard with a lot of stuff here. Like the lights. I like the yellow light on the bottom, but I don't like the blue light. It's just looks like I just popped the color in there, right? So, well, I like the eye, but so yeah, this one wasn't that great, but I was pretty tired and like it doesn't matter what happens. Just I learned from this. Maybe, but so yeah, I made these changes here, and then I was working the same way, but on the secondary light. I just went a little bit even softer than before, so that because that light is not actually a light, it's just like something like the air has dust particles, and those particles reflect the light that's somewhere behind him. So yeah, that's why I did it a lot less light. So if we check the color dodge and like that's what it looks like. This is how I made the changes. So we will come back to color dodge, and then I painted over it again, blending it together, like making some changes, and a little bit more. And that's it. So this is how I went with it. Added some like reflective light on the tongue because, well, the tongue, it's usually when you don't talk a lot and have your mouth open, it usually has saliva on it. So it will reflect the light more than the face. Even the lowest part of the face that's technically closer to the light will reflect the light more in spots than the jaw, because the jaw is, well, not sweaty. It has more, the light bounces of it less. It scatters when it bounces, so it's like if we check it as a ball, the light doesn't go like this. It doesn't go in a straight edge. I will draw a sphere. Just give me a second. Let's make it. Let's make what I say into, whoa, not that. Into images so that someone can understand what I say. So let's say this is a ball, and this is how light reflects from, I think. I'm not, and I'm not, don't quote me on this, right? Yeah, I definitely should. This piece has a bit too many layers for streaming. So yeah, this is how I would represent what I'm thinking. Oh, this ate up some processing power. Yeah, I will open a new file soon. Oh yeah, actually we're done with this one, so yeah. Okay. Let's close this and new create. Something like this. So there we is this working? Is this lagging? Oh, it's lagging a little bit for me. Well, doesn't matter. So this is how I imagine this working. This is a sphere, and this is the light, right? If that sphere is covered with water, right? Then the light, where it hits the water, it bounces right off. Almost nothing stays in the water. Like just a little bit stays there inside. Everything else just bounces off. And if that sphere is, where are the layers? Here are the layers. Right. Let's go make it smaller a little bit. And if that sphere is not covered in water, let's say if it's skin, so the light, when it touches, it goes like this, and it bounces like this. So there is no like straight bouncing off. That's why on water we will have like, let's say this is a dark sphere from here, right? On water we will have something like highlights as bright as this. Well, actually, as bright as the light source. I might be wrong, but that's how I think about it. I don't quote me on this because I'm definitely not a master. But yeah, so the light will bounce very sharply on the water. And if we go with a sphere that is not water, and let's say the light comes from the same initial direction, right? So it's something around here. It will be a lot more scattered. It will go like this. Because it will not bounce as sharply. It will not have the same sharp edge of bounciness. Bounciness of light. That's how I call it. So yeah, it will be like this. What is it called? Bleen. And if you do it in 3D, I think it's called like that. So let's check out what's happening with my PC. So if we do like this. I'm trying to think what will help me have it a little bit less. No. Okay. So is this in the middle? Yep. Bouncing is of light. Very important. Yeah, I don't have a very great way of like of saying what it actually is. There is probably like a term for it. Like I'm very sure that there is a term on it, but when you paint that, it's not that important for all of the terms. Is that? Yep, that's good. Okay, I don't think that I need to know all the words for this to work on my side. I can like understand something about it, but not be like, yeah, that's called tessellation or something like that. I don't know what it actually is called. So, about them, we were talking about water balloons, remember last time? I'm still doing a research about that. That sounds strange. I will come up with the material about how actually the anatomy of the breast, so how it works with gravity. I will make it a little bit more because at the moment I can provide with just drawing from a reference, but that's not what I want to do. I actually want to take a couple of photos of water balloons. I will be doing that probably tomorrow. So yeah, I will buy some balloons. I will take some photos, and I will take also some references that I will draw over behind the scenes because I don't think that you can actually like use breasts on Twitch. Like that's not something you would want to do. And yeah, I will just draw shapes over them with my thoughts, and then we will work on the water balloon references, and I will have like my thoughts on how are they similar and how are they not similar, because what I looked at today, they're pretty different. Yeah, because at first I was thinking that we can just take a couple of photos of water balloons and just use them. But as I was looking at the photos today, what I saw was that although very similar in the behavior when they contact surfaces, I don't have any rubber balls, I think, anymore. We threw them all away. So yeah, when the water balloon touches a surface, then it actually does behave a lot like a breast. Actually, the breast behaves a lot like a water balloon when it touches surfaces. So when the breast, for example, is squeezed by something like this, then yes, it's very similar. But on the part when it's hanging, it's very different because it has the the center of mass is different, because fat is not like water. Although very similar in the behavior, it's a little bit more solid. Well, not a little bit, it's a lot more solid. But yeah, that's why the shape is a little bit different than a water balloon, even if you put a something behind a water balloon. So because breast is rarely hanging like just a water balloon, like a teardrop shape, right? But it's still a little bit different than a teardrop shape, even though even like this, holding a water balloon will not be the same as holding skin filled with fat. No, I'm gonna fill water balloons with water, but I'm gonna do research on the breast, and then we're gonna compare them on the stream. That's what I think. I mean, I will say what I think about similarities and differences, and what can we use from the water balloons, and what can we use from, well, what can we use from the water balloons to make the references look more interesting? Because if you use the references just as it is, usually it doesn't end up as good as a photo. Because the photo, our brain knows that it's a photo, so we don't question what's in it. Like it doesn't, if you see a photo of a woman or a man, you're just like, yeah, that's a photo of a man and a woman, and then anything else in it is like, okay. Yeah, sometimes in the photo you can see a hand that's like stiff, but it's okay because it's a photo. In a painting, for example, you can't make a hand look stiff because it will look off. For example, if a person is standing very stiffly in a photo, like a soldier, in a photo it's completely okay, but in a painting it's not that okay because it just looks plain. Because any motion, not motion, but anything should have a meaning in a painting. Well, not like a meaning like, I don't know, I paint this square because it's a holy grail behind it. But any gesture, because standing still is a gesture. It's a meaning of uh, it can mean a lot of things. For example, you can stand still in fear, or you can stand still in solitude, or in something, in some type of other something. And all of these will have a different ideas behind them. For example, if you stand in fear, you stand still in fear, you will have some body language that will have that will communicate that you are afraid. In a photo, you don't have to communicate any of that because photos usually communicate that by angles, views, and narrative. Sometimes the journalist can take any photo because the photo will be usually used in a text format, so you will have the narrative and the text. But when you paint, well, there's rarely people who, for example, I know my images usually are viewed on Instagram or DeviantArt or ArtStation. Those platforms, they rarely communicate you with words. Yeah, you can. The best example of gesture even in stiffness are cartoons, because cartoons, they have simple characters made out of simple shapes. Like, uh, hope no copyrights will be infringed if I draw three circles, but you will guess what I mean. Like, this dude, he's made out of three circles, right? So, yeah, there is like a couple of balloons that his body is made out of, right? So they had to enlarge the gestures to mm, to make this look realistic and to to tell a story. And you should be doing that. Yes, but yeah, exactly. And what they do, you should be doing in painting also, but a lot more subtle, a lot more subtle. because actually, is the stream? Yeah, exactly. And that's what we should do. We should do that in paintings too, but a lot more subtle. Still, the gesture should feel more. Uh, you should feel the gesture rather than explain it with text. So you should be like, he's stiff because he is a soldier. So that should be felt, not just he has a uniform and he's standing like this. Uh, It can feel like dead. I wanted to ask, if is the stream working okay? Because I think I can just shut down the image of the stream, and it will help me have a better working Photoshop. Have we been dropping frames a lot? Probably we have been dropping, but was it freezing? Mm. Blacker than black. Okay, then I will close the stream itself so I don't, because that eats up a lot of resources. Okay, I will take a small smoke break, just like 5 minutes, less, and be right back. Nah, I'll be right back. And I'm back. So are we good? Are we still live? Is everything working? Let's check out. Nice. Let's see if I will be able to draw something, because it's lagging a little bit. If I go like this, yeah, I can. So, any ideas? Anything you want to see? Let's just doodle something and just come up with a random creature. I think I will do something of a zombie-ish or something like that. Because yesterday we watched with my wife, we watched Pirates of the Caribbean, the fifth movie, and I was surprised that it was actually pretty funny and good because I was thinking of that it's gonna be the same as the fourth movie, which wasn't that good. So yeah, let's just start doodling. I usually, when I doodle, I just go with some shapes, like random shapes, and with those shapes, usually comes to me. Why I draw, usually I draw open mouths because they're pretty interesting to look at when you just like make something with an open mouth, like something like this, all right? It's pretty easy to make on itself and work around it. It makes an initial like where you will be looking at, and I work from that when I doodle for myself. So I try to create interesting like focal points, and I also like to make fleshy stuff because it's like pretty easy to doodle, and you just turn off your brain and doodle something with loads of teeth or flesh or sharp edges and something like that. And fleshy things with teeth actually is very good because of the contrast of the shapes. Because teeth are edgy, and flesh of like, for example, on a bloated character, flesh will be like in big round shapes. So it will be like, you know, piled like poop. Yeah, let's try that. Let's try and go with a creature. How you said it? So it's a zombie creature. Let's try and write that down. So it's a zombie. And tentacles. And mind control, right? So let's try and work with that. Control 1L. I think it's going to be 1L in this situation. Okay, let's go add that like this. And so I usually like in the situations of where I doodle for myself, I work with portraits because again, if you make, I try to do these with things that I have little problems with because usually I do these in the morning. Well, that's also mind control if you just like if you have a head and on top of it you have a creature that's inside of coming out of the head, that's also mind control, just like physical mind control. We can have it like that. Let's see. Just go with the flow. So yeah, I do these in the morning when my head is pretty like fresh and I have a full day in front of me. But like today, I couldn't make it because I woke up a little bit too late, and yeah, I wanted to do a sketch beforehand because it would help me have an idea already. And yeah, I woke up today at 7 and not at 5, which actually like made this like a little bit tougher on myself because I have to like now create this from scratch while talking and figuring out what I want to do. So we will see what works in this situation. Actually, I like the idea of coming from the inside of the body. So yeah, when I do these in the morning, I have like, I'm pretty sleepy, but it helps me to wake up. That's the first thing. And it sets me into the mood of working because doing these, I have a lot of work lately, like the things that I have to do, they have to be done. And it's pretty tough to work all the time trying to create things because the moment I'm working on video stuff, I create video slides. I create illustrations for video slides, and that's a lot of work. So I have to I have to create all day. I work like I begin. If I start these at if I work on one of these in like 5:20 in the morning, then by 6 a.m. I'm already working. I work until 7:20, 7:30, then the morning routine starts. My son wakes up, and when he wakes up, it's like a couple of like an hour at least goes into like getting him to the kindergarten. Well, an hour because I have to dress him, I have to cook breakfast for my wife, and we wash teeth. We try and read a story in the morning. So yeah, it's like after that we walk. It's like a 10-minute walk from here with him, so it's not that big of a deal. And yeah, it's already 8:30 when I come back home, and then I sit and work and work and work. So yeah, I usually try and work until 5 p.m. 17:00. So then the evening routine starts, and well, I try to work in the evenings, but lately I haven't been. So yeah, I have to push everything that I can into these 10 hours. What happened? No, it's from 8:30 to 5. That's 8.5 hours, and another 1.5 hour in the morning. So that's what, 10 hours? Yes, 10 hours. And I have a lot of work on my hands at the moment, and I have to do that. And because I have two projects that are like burning. But I decided that I want to do streams in the middle of the day so that I make a little bit of uh, free space in my brain uh, to create something that refreshes myself because it's pretty daunting when you don't. Um, I become like I become less creative if I don't do anything for myself. And it's a lot harder for me. Yeah, that's true because I think it was last year in November. There was a moment when I was like, actually, it was hard for me to understand why did I start painting in the beginning? Because like all of the work. In the end, I of course got back to it because like you always do. But yeah, so it was a little bit of a burnout, but well, I got past that because you always have to push through. But yeah, so the stream will actually help me be more consistent with this because I tried like last year and the year before that, I already tried to do like daily routine works like this. So I did a monster month in 2015. Um, and I wanted to do a year of those. It was like monster drawings because I enjoy doing monsters and like crazy, not crazy, but just like not very based on something like not realistic drawings. So yeah, and somehow I lost the vibe when I was doing it, and yeah, after that I tried to continue it another couple of times. So I had an architecture month last year I was doing architectural studies, like in January, last January, yes, and after that again it dropped down because I had a lot of work. And well, come on, shoot for it. I will read it up, and we'll scrap this dude with a skull on his head, and we can make a mind control creature. No, easy peasy. Actually, I don't know why. I actually don't want to restart my Photoshop at the moment because I don't know if my license will drop if I do that. Because yeah, I forgot to pay for it today, so I'll pay in the evening and then I will definitely be able to drop it, but don't want to drop the stream just because the license will break and I'll have to quickly do some financial stuff. That's not what I want to do. So just write it down. I will do it. Let's try and open his mouth a little bit more so he's like, ah. Let me look at myself if I do that. Ah. So it's more like this. So yeah, this is my usual process. I just like squiggle black and white and work from what happens. If I don't like the shapes, I do like a lot of these when I start because sometimes you just like don't end up with something that you like, and sometimes like what you like, and then you look at it and like, oh my God, that's not something I really think should be done. So I scrap them. And on stream, it will be like, I have to push through and I have to make something that's like good. It's also a very good challenge for myself. Well, shoot for it, and we will see what we can do with your idea. Like a mind control bunny. There's a rabbit here. Let's see. It's a rabbit with ears, like huge ears, and big teeth. No, we can do that. That's a good idea. Well, let's try and do that. I don't actually. It's hard for me to draw something that looks cute. I tried it a couple of times. It's pretty hard for me, but it's a good challenge. Actually, I should try and do those more often because yeah. Well, if you draw them like, for example, Bobby Chu, for him it's not hard at all. He just does. I think everything he does becomes eventually, no matter how. Some of his creatures are pretty creepy, but the way he draws them, they look cute. So yeah, it's like it's what you usually like. What you're used to depends on that. Because I'm used to drawing more like monsters. I was inspired by when I was starting out in digital art back in 2000. What was it? 7, something like that. Yeah. I was inspired by Dan Lovisi. Then I discovered Dave Raposa for myself, and art from like video games like RPGs, dark RPGs like Dark Souls and stuff like that. And that molded me a lot because the dudes like Raposa and Dan, they don't like paint cute stuff. So, mm, and I was not like very much into cute stuff when I was a kid. So, like, what have you? What cute stuff can you be into when you're a boy kid? Like, I don't even know, but although I liked Powerpuff Girls when I was little, but yeah. So, somehow, eventually, I'm into more of this type of stuff, and yeah, I have my greatest experience in this at the moment. I definitely have to like move away from this in the end. Yeah, that series was amazing. Like the whole moment, I still remember that episode where Bubbles Bubbles went crazy when she went into that training room, Dragon Ball Z style, where she was like trying to beat Buttercup. Buttercup? What her name was Buttercup, I think, right? The green sister was Buttercup. Am I right? I think I'm right. So yeah, she was like, and then she went like full out crazy. That was an amazing episode. And also I loved the dramatic episode with the boys where Mojo Jojo created. It was Mojo, yeah, and uh, yep, Blossom and Buttercup, yeah. So yeah, the episode where Mojo Jojo in prison created the Rowdy Rough Boys, they were called the Rowdy Rough Boys, the male version of the Powerpuff Girls. Girls, let's check out how a cute octopus looks. Cute octopus. Thank you, Google. So we'll use that as a reference. So if anyone can see, I don't know, does this show? Yeah, we'll use this as a reference for a cute octopus. Oh, it was him. Yeah, he was him. That dude was crazy. That character was like he was really crazy. He was talking with this voice that had a male and a female in it. Like it was like, oh, he was like, oh my God. I have no idea how, with all these crazy characters in our childhood, because like, Dexter's Laboratory was also pretty crazy. Also, there was like Ren and Stimpy when I was a little boy. So yeah, with all of that, how did we end up like pretty normal? I must say, like without like any crazies in our heads. We're like, okay, it's Ren and Stimpy was like the most drug-filled show I have ever seen in my entire life. Like crazy. Maybe now they have something worse, but oh, the real monsters was where it was Crom, Ablina, and Ikis, right? It was the real monsters. Am I right? That's what the one you're talking about. Because that one was amazing. That was also like one of my favorite cartoons. It was like it was awesome. And then a lot later, it was a lot later, there was this cartoon. I don't know if it's still on. Yeah, Monster High School in a Junkyard, and they were like actually being like taught to scare people and stuff like that. It was a crazy idea that somehow. Okay, this is not turning up well. Let's try and do that again. It was a pretty crazy idea that turned out to be very fun, and it was very pure no matter what. Although they were scaring people and they were uh, talking about that you should scare people to death, and that's the best thing you can do. And no matter that, it still was an awesome show. Yeah, I recently watched the remake of what's they're called? Not the Duck Adventures. How are they called? Scrooge McDuck and his nephews. What's it called? Come on. The DuckTales. The DuckTales. Although I liked what they did, yeah, I liked what they did with the remake. Uh, I still DuckTales. Woo. Uh, I still somehow didn't. The animations felt strange. They were like not too fluid, but like the characters felt different, very different, and probably that like uh, threw me off. I don't know, but yeah, the new cartoons are somehow more. Mm, for example, Uh, I tried to watch the. Everyone says that it's an amazing show, the Adventure Time. And although I see and I get where everyone's going with why it is amazing, like the stories, I read the stories about it, like what's happening in the cartoon. But then I tried and watch, and it was like, somehow not for me. And yeah, so I stopped. I just felt like it's too nuts. There was so much happening on the screen. Yeah, uh, these tentacles. Yeah, just a second. I will put on a put on a coat, not a coat, a sweater. Because it's becoming a little bit hot in here, so I want to open a window so that I get more air. But it's cold, so I don't want it to get cold. Like a little cage that the squid is looking out of, with some tentacles peeking out between the ribs. Well, we will see. I actually like. I'm testing the squid out if it even will look good. But if it will look good, I might actually use a rib cage. We will see what happens actually, because I might actually scratch the squid itself, because it's like at the moment it's hard for me to understand how I will put it in, because the anatomy of a squid is strange because it's blobby. We will see. So yeah, mm, the new cartoons for me, well, maybe it's just like, the time we get older, the new cartoons are about new generation. There's new stuff, and we're just outdated. Can be the case. Can definitely be the case. Because every old generation thinks that the new generation is the bad one. They're like, that's wrong. That's not how you should do it. Well, maybe this is exactly the part where we are like becoming a little bit older, and I actually like there is something wrong about them. For example, there's this show. Oh my God, how is it called? There's a blue animal and a red animal, pinkish animal. They're like 2D characters in a 3D world. Like I don't know. Gumball. It's called Gumball. I have watched a couple of snippets out of it, and it just didn't feel right to me. Like nothing in it was even remotely funny for me. And the animations were like, although they are very fluid and pretty good, like not pretty good, they're amazing. But I didn't understand Gumball. I don't know, it just felt strange for me. So, it's like that one might be, yeah, that's true. Everyone has, uh, in Rush, my main language is Russian, so um, there is a funny twist on a saying that everyone has his own taste. We have a saying that mm, on color and taste. Yeah, on color and taste, you have no friend. So everyone has his own taste and sense of color and stuff like that. And a funny jokish way of saying that is on taste and color, every crayon is different. So this is somewhat what I wanted to say. Yeah, it's a very good saying because it's right. So yeah, how was your weekend actually? Like, I'm talking about myself a lot. Were you studying or were you like chilling just and not doing anything much? Yeah, the piece was amazing actually. You did an amazing job. I liked how you finished it. Yeah, I heard Loomis was amazing for anatomy. If that's what the one you're talking about. Uh, it's like the greatest book out there. Dude, it's like I just say how it is. Yeah, there's like you have to work on your technique maybe and like on some things, but what you have is amazing. Seriously. When I was like, I showed you the pieces I've been doing when I started out. You're way past me when I started out, so like you're amazing. I think you should. Like, I don't know. Are you doing it as a hobby? Or are you like, why are you like, what's your intent with drawing? What do you want to do in the end? Hobbyist. Well, yeah, everyone starts as a hobbyist, but like, where do you see your drawing in like, I don't know, mm, 20 to 30 years? Well, okay, not 20, but let's say, would you want to do commissions or do you just like think of it as something you do just when you want to relax? Well, yeah, I know that feeling. Yeah, actually, the toughness of this stuff is supposed to be what makes it fun. Although sometimes it's so tough that you're like, ah, it's daunting. But it's still fun even then. And what do you have an idea of what you want to create, like the world that you're talking about, or is it just like you just want to make something in the end? Oh yeah, that's true. The blank sheet of paper is actually a very daunting thing. Still lagging a lot. True. When you look at what other people's what's wrong with me? When you look at other people's art, yeah, it's like, whoa, how should I start? I still feel that way every time I like do anything. Like for example, I started streaming, but I was like, oh, just I'm gonna be like, no one's gonna ever look at this because there are dudes that whose work is so awesome that I'm just like, doing some awful scribbles. That's an awesome plan. I've been on date. I have been. Oh, no. Oh, I don't participate in the cancer really. I try to like I have my own views on things, and if cancer ensues, I just like I bye bye. That's my stuff. I don't try. I try to not engage in the cancerous communities, and although I try now to engage with DeviantArt, but like on my own terms, I try to communicate with everything on my own terms. The balloon fetishes, I actually don't understand. I saw a lot of stuff with that balloon stuff. Like, oh, is that actually that something is like sexual about it? I just thought it was just like, funny. Like, is that sexual? Because I saw a lot of it. The furries actually are not that bad. It's like, well, okay. Okay. Because the furries, they're like, they just, it's like, as I've seen, there's not a lot of furries. I don't say it's like good or anything. I just say that in the things that I've seen on sites like DeviantArt and other stuff, there is things that, well, are worse than furries. Furries are like, well, it's a fetish. The thing is, I know that you should like on sites like that, you should not like talk about your opinions that are not like with the majority. That's true. And with a lot of people comes, the community is actually pretty closed. Although there's a lot of people, you can't like break through the amount of people. For example, I've been on DeviantArt for like, what? I've been registered 10 years ago, I think. And, well, my view count is the same as it was like almost 5 years ago. Not to say that my art is amazing, just to say that I just don't understand what should I do to like bring in people into my DeviantArt. Mm. Pinterest is amazing for collecting things, as I know. Although I still don't know how to use that one. I tried using like Pinterest, but it somehow never got to me how you should be. What and how does it work? As I've seen a lot of problems with Pinterest for me is like if you find something on Pinterest, there is like almost zero way to find the initial image where it came from, so you can like reference it. I have like tons of images on my PC where that I save for like I will check that out later, and you know what happens? I never do because yeah, because that's how attention works. Oh. Um, uh, I am like I like to follow the things that I enjoy, and all of my on our station I follow like what 1,200 people I think, and on DeviantArt it was something the same amount. And it's like, although I like their art, it's very hard for me to go through all of that art again when like everyone is updating. So like yeah, I do. I have like a huge problem with loads of updates from people. That's a very good community, although it's not a very interactive community, as I found. Well, at least for me, I am trying to embrace social media, but it's tough for me because like actually I don't know why. I just don't like um I'm a vocal person and typing is hard for me. And social media is a typing way of communication, like tick tick tick. And I somehow, yeah, I enjoy the vocal conversations. Yeah, that's true. Because yeah, there's well, ArtStation is a site for professionals. It makes like the thing is you just like you go on there to make a professional portfolio to get jobs. So yeah, there is like no point of kids registering there. Uh, because they just can't get hired, so they lose the point in being there. Well, actually, you can find it there. It just you should go into the latest. Usually, there's you will find someone not bad initially, but just not on the hyper professional level that some of the dudes in the pics are or in the community. But yeah, ArtStation is a lot more professional than most of the platforms because it actually tries to tailor itself for people who do want or already do work. Because, for example, if you have a flood of bad, like not using the word bad is wrong, a flood of non-professional art in between with having like a couple of professional pieces, the professional pieces can just get lost because there's a lot of updates. So, for example, if you check on DeviantArt, for me, I have tried to watch like things on DeviantArt that come up, new things. It's like you don't even have to wait. You just like press the search button again, and there are like 100 new pieces each minute. And I don't say that they're bad. I just say that there's 100 new pieces each second. So it's like there's a lot of luck involved in this for you to get noticed, or like something else, some other ways to get noticed. And yeah, I'm not good with that. Uh, I'm like I don't know. Somehow I technically understand what should be done to attract people, but I don't know. It just doesn't happen for me. I mean, I just don't do those things. Although I should probably because when you're working, yeah, and well, to get good, do you play Dark Souls? Have you ever played Dark Souls? I don't know because like, and that's the community based around get good. Yeah, same here actually. The same grind. You just like you start at the bottom and you grind, and you just grind and grind and grind some more. Yep, exactly. Oh, if you haven't tried the first one, and if you haven't watched anything on it, but you probably have, uh, because I went into me and my best friend, we went into Dark Souls. It was like what 2014, 13. We got we bought together a PS3, and we got Dark Souls. Then, my friend, you are in a very good spot to start it because it has like the feeling that it gives you out if you don't uh that's an amazing place to be because it has like the narrative that it has or rather to say the lack of guidance, like it doesn't hold any hands. It's like I remember like loving the thing that you start playing and the only direction is that you have is like a dude sitting there and he's just said, so you have to ring two bells. One is on the top, one is somewhere at the bottom. Boom. And that's it. And you're like, okay, so I have two bells. One is somewhere high and one is somewhere very low. Okay, and you have this vast world in front of you with things that want to murder you, and you're like, whew, okay, let's go. And you just like you dive into that. Like there's not much storytelling in a sense that we're used to. Like, when the story is just like, here you go, you can read it all up right here. Like everything is chewed and put into your mouth. I love that. It was like, I must say to this day, it's probably in the top five of my gaming experiences. Although recently I haven't played a lot of games, so maybe like, but still in the top five. It's somewhere up there with like Witcher 3, Diablo 2 back in the day when it was like still new. Yeah, exactly. And then, as I know, in Dark Souls, you can actually like not even level up and finish the whole game. But you need to be crazy, of course, like play very good, not be a scrub. But I was a scrub in Dark Souls. I was like, I'm still am. I like tried to play. I have the third one on my Steam, and I still haven't like gone through like even like 10% of the game. But I don't have actually. I don't have the time for it. That's part of it. Because for games you have to like have time, right? And with family, work, kid, and mm, yeah, I think you're right actually. Because yeah, we got like cramped up. Um, so yeah, time is like very expensive these days for me. I like this is the most I can have actually, like these 2.5 2 hours that I can like not waste exactly. With video games, the problem is that you actually like from a perspective of time usage, you just like it only helpful when you enjoy them. And for Dark Souls, for example, for me to enjoy Dark Souls, I have to play for like, we were playing like 8.5 hours stretches. Check the time. Well, it's been like what, 1.5 hour, 2 hours. I have another 20 minutes, I think, because then I have to go to the city with my kid. But yeah, so it's around 20 minutes. I have 20 minutes more. So yeah, I think I will get rid of at the moment of the octopi. Although I like the octopus, let's leave it. We will see where we go with this. So yeah, the Dark Souls was like, mm, if I want to enjoy it, I need to have like 8 hours. I tried to play Witcher like 2 years ago, and it's also one of those games that to completely enjoy you have to play like 8 hours in a row. Playing an hour doesn't do you anything. You just come back into that world, and the world is so interesting, and you want to check out everything and. We will see. I will not be painting over him at the moment. Maybe like we will see. I will definitely use him somewhere. I like him. So yeah, video games at the moment are out of question for me. I play a little bit of Hearthstone, but that's another pretty toxic game. I played with my wife, so that's why I play, because we play not together but together, something like that. So yeah, I play Hearthstone, and yeah, yep. I play it on my phone. That's why we play with my wife, because we have only one PC in our house at the moment, and we play on our phones, so we can like we can play against each other even when we're like when And when our son is like sleeping and we can't like do something on the PC, so we play on the phones. It's actually on the phone. The dungeons runs was actually something that refreshed me into the Hearthstone and into the Hearthstone. Well, yeah, because I actually have a big problem with how the meta in Hearthstone is actually just about you get the best deck and you play it a lot. Like a lot. You just make the deck that is like the either the most aggressive or the combos just like that cube warlock. I have that deck. Just made it. It was fun, but then everyone started playing it, and I understood that it's not that fun anymore. Yeah, feels bad. True, because it's like you just you press play. It gets you your random opponent, and when the random opponent is there, it's either a priest, a warlock, a hunter, or a paladin, and then you're like, well, it's either big priest or dragon priest. It's either this aggro hunter or this face hunter. Oh, it's either this type of Q block or this type of Q block, and you're like, good, good. It's like mm, getting to legend. It's not only about skill. Well, it's a lot about skill and having the deck. It's also about being like hyper persistent. You need to invest so much time to get to the top ranks. And with Arena, what I don't like about Arena is the entry cost. It's like if you don't go infinite, and I'm not in that place yet. I'm like with Arena, I average out at around 4.5 wins, and it's like you either invest money or you play once in like 2 days, 3 days, 2.5 days, once in 2.5 days. So yeah, I don't enjoy that. Although Arena is pretty fun, but it's the entry cost for me. Yeah, exactly. And like the expensiveness of Arena is actually, I think, the worst part because not knowing much is part of the fun. Because I had a blast playing the dungeon run, even though at first I had zero ideas what's going on, like zero. It took me like what? I think my last one was Rogue. I finished all of them. I managed to get the wins with every class, to finish the run with every class, but it's like, it was fun. Yeah, exactly. It would be amazing if there was arena that was like it doesn't give you any even you could be like, you finish the run and you get like 10 gold. So, yeah, exactly. It would be like fun arena that's not like based on money. Because the money issue is like, for example, I come from a country where like paying $1.50 per play is like uh, it's a lot of money. And I don't think that there are a lot of countries where $1.50 to play like maybe 3 games is not. Yeah, children's pool for arena, exactly. Well, they made it a little bit different. They made that heroic brawl thingy where you pay a lot of money and you get to play and get like a lot of packs if you win, which was I didn't even try. Although I had the gold, we tend to just farm gold. We're like we don't buy packs with the quest gold. We just like farm it until the expansion and buy like 50 packs from that gold, and something like that. Yeah, I just want to work on something that's in the background because I just saw this tentacle here and I want to finish this part right here. Alright, come back. Don't go away with me. Here we go. Make this place. But yeah, you're right. I have to move on. Like this. So I pressed the switch the screen mode button. So yeah, the only games I play is Hearthstone, and that one is actually like beginning to be annoying. We are actually thinking about playing Gwent, but that doesn't have a mobile game client yet. Although, as I know, they are planning on it. They're planning to make it mobile in the end. But at the moment, I just have to get. We have to buy a second PC for that, so that we can play together, and not just like one of us plays and the second one is like either watching or is not engaged at all. I tried to find something that would be interesting, but Nuclear Throne, is that a dungeon crawler or is that a I would love to play Diablo 2 again, but I don't even remember where do I even have that anymore. Might buy it again because that game was amazing. So it's a roguelike, but does it have a single PC co-op play? Because a lot of games I've been searching for have like multiple PC co-op play, and that is like at the moment is not possible because we have one PC. Oh, then awesome. I will check it out. Is it on Steam? That's awesome. Single PC co-op is like we played. Have you played the what was the name? Was it Her Story? Her Story was it called? It was like a. I will definitely check that out. Nuclear Throne. Nuclear Throne. I don't know. Mm-hmm. Okay. It was a puzzle game. Uh, like, there was like a video interview style game. Okay. I'm saving. I'm saving the tabs for later. Oh, that looks interesting. That definitely looks interesting. I like the simple art style. Thank you. We'll check those out when I have the time. Not at the moment, but a little bit later, yeah. So yeah, that her story was, I think it was like there was a it was a crime investigation type of game. It was videotaped, and you had to question and review and question again and review, find the clues, and it was like we played. It was pretty short. We finished it in like what 4 hours in 2 sessions. So it was like we played for 2 hours, then we played another 2 hours, and we finished it. But it was like, was it her story? Just a second, I will find it. Yeah, her story game. Um, Probably, although LA Noire was more action based, this has no like gameplay except like you watch a video of her talking and you make conclusions. Like, yeah, something like that, but without any action or like any exploration aside from like the videos that you get. Awesome. So what I am trying to do here is like, so the ribs, these are not the ribs actually. And yeah, I'm just trying to like fit this, fit the octopi somehow into the piece, because like it just, at the moment, it looks like the octopus is in front of the man and the zombie is just behind, and we have to like make them at one single unit. Well, at least that's what we want to do, right? So, see what we're gonna do is like this. This is what we're gonna do. Yeah, sorry, got thinking a little bit. Oh, it became dark. In my room. So yeah, this is where we are at the moment. Actually, like 10 minutes left. Oh, hope my drinking is not annoying. So yeah, what I'm thinking is doing like this meaty, I have it here like on the head, like this meaty blob, overgrown, like what you like a tumor stuff here going on. I would actually like try and make it look like he's not ripping apart the flesh, but he's like, you know, he's grown into the flesh like a tumor, something like that. Oh, that's the idea at the moment. And as you can see here, it's a little bit too dark in some places. So I'm gonna be like going over it with white. I actually paint with like I just take black and white with opacity drop down a little bit, and I don't erase stuff. I just press X to switch between foreground and background colors. Does that show up? No, that does not show up. Just a second. If you look here, white is the foreground color and black is the background color. So if I press X, then they switch. And that's how I just don't use the eraser. I just use like the colors to change, to like erase something. Like, for example, here I can erase this like that. So yeah, that's how I tend to paint when I paint for myself. I don't paint that way when I work, when I do client work. I usually actually do different approach because this one takes a lot of time for me. I try to work this way for clients, but as my rate for work is a little bit, well, if you count it, I worked this way for a while, and then I sat down to do my budgets, and I counted not like my hourly rate, but something similar to an hourly rate, which is like, you know, how much did I work for the money that I got? And working this way, I found out that I was like, uh, it was just not worth it. Although I like this approach, I very much enjoy it, and I like the results I'm getting. I just can't charge enough for it to be viable to work like this meticulously on each detail which I'm working on. Although I'm not working on each detail because there is a focal point, and after which I try not to work as much outside of it. But still, it's like it takes me a lot longer this way rather than the way that I work now, which is I create a sketch, then a line art over it, then I I create black, white, and gray 5-color like value idea sketch behind it. Then I use those blocks of color to color in just a color, and then I just make shadows, lights, and all of that, and work from there. Although I enjoy this way a lot more than that way because it just allows for a lot of exploration during the work. Somehow oh yeah, that well, it's like everything you do in your life technically is a business. So your work is business. So you have to like understand. You can work the way you want in your spare time. So for example, here I am on the stream. I'm not doing the line art stuff. I am doing this stuff, although it is like pretty meticulous for me. Like it's a little bit, the PC is a little bit lagging behind, and like it's I do a lot of unnecessary things. Like for example, how many times have I painted over this area of him? But I like it. It allows me to change things even during like any stage of the process. So for example, let's say we are working on this stream on this octopus guy, and like I will be working on him tomorrow too. And let's say on Wednesday, I just look at this and say like, oh, uh, let's say we don't like the guy in behind, so we can change him because like we were changing things all the time, so it doesn't feel like a big investment to just drop him. But when you like make a very serious line art and then invest your time into that, and then you have to drop an element, it's a lot harder to like psychologically just say, ah, okay, I just gonna like change that, no problem, because like you've spent so much hours like finalizing the line art. Not so many hours, but like, you know, you technically you made the line art, like that should have been the final image, and then just like boom, it's not. I think he's gonna be walking with his legs, so it's like I'm probably gonna have like they usually have these like the squids I checked out, they have these water pumps type of stuff on their not the jaw, but let's say it's a jawline. So I will have some organs in these parts of them. I can only show you with the mouse. So in these parts, I will have like kidneys or well, they're not exactly gills. They're like pumps because they have like exactly like pump style. They are gills, yes, but they look like pumps. You know, they have these. They're like tubes. Because fish gills are like gills exactly. They're like lines of skin that open to filter out. And squid do it differently. They're actually I think they do it like exactly like pumps, so they fill themselves and use the water to like come out. I think, if I remember correctly. So yeah, I think just putting a couple of fleshy meatballs here so that he has something to breathe through and uses the dead guy as a filtering machine. And an undead filter. Let's call him that. That's a good name for this dude. Undead filter. Oh, I just like dozed out. Sorry. Got into thinking what I will be drawing next into him. Sorry, just got quiet a little bit. So yeah, I've got 3 minutes. So yeah. So this is where we are for today. We've started with a blank canvas, an idea of a zombie tentacle mind control dude. And then we had, this was like a smoke break, so we sketched this and added a little bit of polishing. Not a lot. So we will be working on this tomorrow morning and tomorrow during the stream. So, thank you very much for tuning in, everyone that tuned in. And thank you, Ainko, for talking with me. You are awesome, my man. You are awesome. Sorry, I pointed the chat, although you're there. So, yeah, see you later. And I probably will post this online. And yeah. Oh, so see you later. Have an awesome day, evening, night, whatever it is where you are. And Anko, I know it's gonna be an awesome evening where you are. So see you later, guys.